Welcome everybody to a very special presentation of The Lookout. Of course, I am Meals, and we are here with actually a crowded room today because this is the first annual, the inaugural, there's only one thus far, Lookout Awards. We want to welcome everybody to Lookout Awards. I hope you're wearing your best on whatever day this is, and we are going to take a look back at the best in anime for the entire year. Well, maybe not even the best. Let's talk about our favorites just in general, representing the Lookout people who watch who listen to our podcast, and representing the Lookout people who give you guys the podcast and who handle our socials and everything, and just kind of everyone who is here. So I want to give a rundown because we actually have a very, very packed room. This might be the most people ever on a Lookout program ever. So I'm going to start things off only because it rolls off the tongue, and he is my podcast partner for the Lookout.
Oh, me?
I'm going to start off with, of course, the Platinum Chanel boy himself, Jeff.
What's up, buddy?
What's up?
How you feeling, man?
Feeling
I'm good, man. Yeah. This is exactly what we need, man. I'm not huge on award shows, but in this aspect, especially when it comes to anime, man, I'm ecstatic for it. I'm so happy.
Oh, absolutely. Then we also have to get into one half co-host, Big Eyes, talking about AD. AD, what's up, brother?
Hey, man, it's been a good time. It's been a good year. I'm glad to be here with all of y'all right now, just talking about some of our favorite stuff that come out this year. You know, it's been a interesting year, to say the least, but we're here to celebrate the good stuff that's come out. So I'm happy to be here to talk about all this stuff with you guys.
Absolutely. And of course, we couldn't do the Big Eyes without the other half. Jamal, what's up, man?
What's good? I'm happy to be here. Let's get. I'm happy to be here. I'm ready to argue. Like I want to get to the argument. Let's get the introductions. Let's get to what we're arguing.
Well, all right. You're ready to argue. Listen,
I'm ready to argue.
Listen to many podcasts. I am ready to argue with you too, sir. So we can get it on.
I was about to get heated.
Let's go into one half of Showdown, our newest on the Lookout Network. Showdown. Let's talk about Eric. What's good, man?
What's good, y'all? Yo, I'm out here feeling dapper with it, but yo, I'm with Jamal. I'm ready to argue in all the smoke. I want all the smoke.
Absolutely. I want to let you know, so this will be released actually before your Showdown episode is released, which is the viewer's choice. So maybe
the voting is going well.
Yeah. The voting. What do you guys particularly? I'm going to talk to Jeff and Eric himself.
What I want?
What do you guys actually want to win in terms of
Me personally, I would love to.
Hunter for the third time.
Obviously, yeah. Obviously.
Listen. I would love to do Gon Nephropitu, but yeah, it would be the third one. So I feel like I did have to put it in. But to be honest with you, Levi, man, Beast Titan, I would love that as well. So there's a few. I've gotten tweets about JoJo, so we'll see what happens, man. But the voting is going well.
Yo, JoJo, I have to. Yo,
I put it in for Eric. Like a JoJo fight had to be done because Eric loves JoJo so much.
Yo, that's literally like when COVID is done, that is the next tattoo that's gonna be on me. Is fucking Jotaro and platinum stand on my fucking
plans
arm.
Already.
shit you not. So
there you go. Also, you're joined by people on our social team and just also people who've been part of the Lookout team for the entire year. I would say, let's kick things off. First of all, this man is responsible for posting plenty on our Instagram page. We got to talk about Marcus Flo. You've also been a guest on Mount Silver earlier this year too, man. How you been?
I'm doing well, man. It's an honor to be here to talk anime and manga with y'all. It's been super dope, just like always being a fan of the Lookout and then like being a part of it, just because y'all really got me back into like Dragon Ball Z and reading manga and even just like getting back and rewatching My Hero. So it's just an honor to be here and kick it with y'all.
Absolutely. And of course, last but certainly not least, and I mean certainly not least in a ton of ways possible, the man, the myth, the legend,
No, is it really?
Johnny Barnes. Yes,
he
of
here?
course.
Hey, what's good?
Hey.
What's good? Yeah. So 2020 has been a pretty, shit year personal wise, but top of the year, Meals hit me up, was like, yo, this is, my invitation to you for the team. I was like, I got to do it. I'd be happy to. So it's been a great year helping the Lookout get to, reaching the levels that, we aspire to. So.
Absolutely. Shout out to Johnny Barnes.
Big Johnny, listen, Minnesota here. Minnesota here, bro.
Yep.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. 2-0,
I feel like
Midwest.
Oh my God. But yes, we got a stacked room. This is a general question for everybody, but we're super packed in this room. So maybe we'll just go down the line. How do you guys feel that anime and manga has been in 2020? Because I'll say personally for myself, considering everything that's been going down and how things have adapted and changed, I think, I don't want to say manga blew anime out of the water, but there's just so much more to tap into than that. But I want to know personally what everybody's experience has been just absorbing anime and manga for the entire year. What have you been watching? Have you been watching old stuff, new stuff? I'm going to start with you, AD. How's this year kind of been?
This year has been kind of interesting because going through the year, there was a lot of discussion and debate on whether or not a lot of stuff would get pushed back or canceled. Because of the stuff that's been going on with the pandemic. So there was a lot of stuff I was looking forward to. I watched ReZero. Let me retract. This was a big year in terms of not just manga and anime, but the Korean side, the manhwa stuff coming out, because Crunchyroll had the Tower of God, God of High School stuff come out, and that was really interesting. Granted, like those were like the first things that we've gotten a taste of, and while there has been some discussion, I forgot the word of what I want to say, but it's been very interesting to see how that plays out. Personally, I kind of like those things, and I would like to see more of those things develop as we go on. But as manga and anime as a whole, it's like as we got through the year, there was more and more stuff coming out. So I personally liked all the stuff that came out in the beginning and towards the end. But that middle section, like between like April and July, it was kind of dry. So I ended up actually going back and rewatching a lot of old stuff just to fill in the gap since stuff got either pushed to 2021. But now that we're at the end of the year, I feel like there's a whole lot of stuff to look forward to. So 2020 as a whole, I mean, it is what it is. But since we've made it, it ain't nothing but up from here, in my opinion.
All right. What about you, Jamal?
You know what? I fully agree with you, Mills. Manga smoked anime this year, and it's not anime's fault because I feel that if the year went how it was supposed to go, we would be, we'll be talking completely different. But like manga really held it down because even though chapters were pretty inconsistent throughout times, especially during the summertime, even though they're inconsistent, everything that they were dropping was like big moments. So like they still took very much advantage of, those breaks and those times where we weren't getting any chapters. So they held it down. I think this is the year that I have not watched a lot of anime this year. Like it was even like, cause I was so excited for stuff that was supposed to come. And when it didn't happen or like got pushed back or whatever, I was just like, all right, whatever. And then like old stuff wasn't enticing me as much because I was so excited for like more of the newer stuff that was supposed to come out in 2020. So I've been heavy. I've been heavy on my manga stuff though. Got through all of One Piece.
Hey, you already know.
Got through all of One Piece. I've probably rewatched a lot of arcs just to be able to get kind of, because it's cool like listening to how you speak, especially when y'all look back at Dragon Ball Z this year, and y'all looked at the Frieza arc and all that. It was cool to like hear. It's always cool to hear you guys like revisit moments that you remember and that were probably very big during your childhood, but then be able to see them in a different way, like as an adult.
For sure.
So like I was just doing a lot of that. I was just like, all right, what's an arc that I want to rewatch? Okay, I'll go watch that. And like so, obviously, Jeff is here. The troop is here. So
yeah, a lot of Hunter x Hunter right now.
Yeah, but speaking of the troop, Speaking of the troop, Jeff.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known, but you surprise me, please.
Yeah, no, for me, I would also say 2020, although it has been crazy and pandemic and all that, I feel like manga, anime, we're in a groundbreaking time for it. I think the pandemic was actually, very nice to anime and manga because we're living in a time where binging is the thing, especially all the time that we had in the beginning of the pandemic. And I think a lot of people like us, we went that route to kind of keep our mind straight, not have anxiety about the situation, watching a lot, reading a lot. And I think that helped, anime overall. So for me, the year was great. Personally, I got into a lot of different things. I think I had already seen some of My Hero prior to 2020, but I can't say that, I didn't dive into it. I really dived into it this year and fell in love with it and got caught up, and it's amazing. Same with Attack on Titan here within the past month. Promised Neverland was amazing. I love Dr. Stone. I've got a lot of different things, but yet I still go back and I do the Hunter x Hunter thing. I got it on right now. That's just something that doesn't stop. And then yeah, man. So for me, I think we're in a groundbreaking time. I think 2021 is definitely like this is the start of the golden age. Jamal mentioned it. It's like midsummer that we were like it was happening, and he was absolutely right. We're really in it right now. You know what I'm saying? So next year is going to be major with all the things that are coming back, or some of the things that started. Like obviously Jiu-Jitsu is really just getting going, and it's going to be. I feel like they really got one there. Everything is just really happening how it's supposed to.
Absolutely.
And it's just amazing. It's just really crazy, honestly, how it all unfolded in this manner. So anime for me has been great. It's definitely been the year that I've focused the most on it. But we've had a lot more time to do so because of the situation. So it's benefited in that direction.
We recorded the most episodes of Lookout we ever done in a year this year.
It's crazy.
Just
amazing.
Out of the 50. I know, out of the 52 weeks of the year, we probably recorded like about 40 of them, which is crazy to think, considering our format.
It was good.
It was amazing. And hopefully we can continue to provide just amazing stuff for the year moving forward. Eric, how's the anime been for you this year? Anime manga.
I really read manga as much. I really should be doing more because anime has been up and down this year for me at least. But I've just been going back on like a lot of some of my classics, and just going through these episodes too got me going through all I will watch each season, the whole series or that episode at least, and I'll just keep going on for at least a couple of weeks or so. So I'll say I know for sure I love Jujutsu Kaisen. That was just from watching anime from so many years, is just seeing the way that's been drawn. It's just mind-boggling to me. Everything, and for this year, for me being stuck in here to see something like that from, it's just amazing. So,
absolutely, man. Johnny, how's everything been for you from the manga and the anime side?
Yeah, so what Jeff had mentioned about using these series, to keep our mind off of less favorable things. Yeah, I spend a lot of time up late, reading stuff like Demon Slayer, My Hero, Promised Neverland, stuff like that. So yeah, so that's it's been great, getting into those series this year. And of course, the team favorites is on the anime side, Attack on Titan, jumping into that. Jujutsu Kaisen, of course, just a marvel of animation, and obviously that team has been knocking it out of the park this year. Mappa, and there'll be even more coming with Chainsaw Man. So it's been a great year of getting into new stuff, and looking forward of what's to come next year.
Absolutely. Marcus, you talk about getting back into a lot of anime this year. Was anything able to catch your eye in terms of from the manga and anime standpoint?
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. Hunter x Hunter, the 2011. My only complaint with that is sorry for the dirt bikes in the background, but my only complaint about Hunter x Hunter is the Chimera Ant saga, and just how long it is. But
it's
Black
long.
Clover,
It is long. I can't say it's not long. It really is. So.
Yeah. But Black Clover as well. Jujutsu Kaisen, I need to catch up on that. I really started reading Chainsaw Man, the manga, and that's been very interesting, and just reading that as well. God of High School was it was all right. It wasn't my favorite, but I get it. So, but yeah, no, it's just been fun doing, like, I rewatched Dragon Ball Z Super. So yeah, it's just been a fun way to, like, escape the anxiety of what this moment is giving us right now.
Absolutely, man.
The Super rewatch is underrated, by the way.
Right.
No, I actually just finished watching it. Well, I only watched it turn on power.
It's worth to just turn on and run.
Yeah, it's really a nice little background thing. But I mean, in terms of things that I've done this year, I've dove into anime that I've never, besides all the stuff that we've done on just on the Lookout itself. I mean, I've dove into plenty of things I haven't watched before. I think the Hunter x Hunter rewatch, not the Hunter x Hunter, the what is it called again? And I just tweeted about it this morning, which is hilarious. No, it's not Hunter x Hunter. It's Yusuke Urameshi. Yu Yu Hakusho. There you go. Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yu Yu Hours. Yu Yu Hours.
Absolutely. Yu Yu Hours.
Ghost Files.
Definitely a thing that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I think a lot of people enjoy too, which is fantastic. And I even got to go back to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Posted that on timeline. I think people enjoyed that as well, for how ridiculous that kind of is, even though I dreaded it. But we still managed to get through it, and I think we produced an amazing episode this year, along with Cyrus as well, for that Lookout stuff. And then, like, Cowboy Bebop I got into, which I was just like, wow, this is art, and I see why this is a classic in every sense of the word. And Haikyuu, which is another one that I just feel like, in terms of sports,
you stand. We know.
I don't stand it. I don't stand it, but I think it's very well.
He stands. He slightly stands.
And it's okay. It's good. You put me on, so.
I just think it's good. I think it's really, really well done in terms of a sports anime. It makes me want to work on a team much better than I've ever had before. So what else?
You're gonna catch Mills in the gym practicing his spikes. It's gonna be crazy.
Listen,
Mills gonna have like a 70-inch vert.
But with that said, I mean, there's so many things that happened this year, but I think we should start beginning to get into the nominees and stuff like that. So how we're going to handle this is, for the anime stuff, of course, I will sequence my way into this, and for the manga stuff, Jamal will. So I think the first category that we're doing belongs to the manga side. So Jamal, do you want to introduce what we're going to be doing here?
Yes. So here we're going to introduce the nominees, and then we're going to announce the winner. And after we announce the winner, we are going to have our discussion about how we feel about how this went. So here are the nominees for favorite manga hero.
What's up, everyone? I'm AD from Big Eyes, and I'm here to kick the show off with the Manga Hero of the Year category. Now, you guys know a lot of the heroes and protagonists in anime and manga possess certain characteristics that draw viewers into them, whether it's their strength and abilities, personality, or their outlook on life. But when danger calls and their friends and family's lives are on the line, and despite the overwhelming odds they may face, they answer and rise to the occasion with unwavering commitment to the sense of justice. And that is what makes them heroes. And the men and women here today in this category display those characteristics through and through. So here are the nominees for Lookout's Manga Hero of the Year. Yuji Itadori, Jujutsu Kaisen. Denji, Chainsaw Man. Izuku Midoriya, My Hero Academia. Endeavor, My Hero Academia. Tanjiro Kamado, Demon Slayer. Emma, The Promised Neverland. Chrome, Dr. Stone. And the winner is Izuku Midoriya, aka Deku from My Hero Academia.
So here's how it went down. All right. So of course we had all the voting thing like that, but manga hero of the year, Deku. Wow. I can't even say. Did you see that coming?
Impressive. Did we see that coming? Huh? Yeah.
I'll say personally.
Are we like?
Let's roll back through the nominees once again.
Yeah.
Just for everybody
so here are the nominees. We have Yuji Itadori, Jujutsu Kaisen, Denji from Chainsaw Man, Deku, My Hero, Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, Emma from The Promised Neverland, and Chrome from Dr. Stone.
No, you forgot also Endeavor from My Hero Academia as well.
Oh, Endeavor, yes, from My Hero Academia.
Listen, I'll say this as someone
That's tough, bro.
Who put together everything. It's interesting watching the results because every one of these got a vote, which means
of course
they're all valid heroes in some extent.
They are. I'm surprised Tanjiro didn't get this, to be honest with you, or Emma for that matter. I love Deku, and I think Deku, he definitely has, he has his dues. He deserves it in some aspect.
He's the next one, man. He's the next one.
But I just, I don't know, man.
Do you guys feel?
I know.
Do you guys feel that this was? I don't think, like personally, I don't think that this is as much as like a runaway year, like for Deku.
I don't exactly
because like of all the power of all the heroes there. Like who are some of you guys like favorite throughout the year? Like who would you out of that list? Who would you have picked?
I would have picked Tanjiro.
I would hope they've voted.
Or if you did vote, like Johnny, if you voted, who did you vote for on this list?
I think I put Denji for this one just because of his story of like going from this depressed simp to somebody who gaining their own sense of agency towards the end of his story. Was a really great story. So I personally put Denji just because outside of a typical shonen storyline, I really enjoyed reading that journey this year.
Flo, how about you?
I put Denji as well for the same reasons that John said, and just seeing his transformation from like a poor loser to where he is now is just that was my favorite story compared to like Deku's this year.
I want to pick on AD because I feel that his vote.
AD, what's up, man? Come on, AD.
Personally, I ain't even gonna hold y'all because I was the one who like put all of these on the list, so I don't even remember who I voted for. But I feel like this year would have to go to either Denji or personally Endeavor, just because of their year. Like not just in manga in a sense. Well, first of all, in My Hero, I can understand why Deku won, but for Endeavor as well, this was a big year because this was the war arc in My Hero. Like this is where everything went down. So like all of the stuff that happened between Deku, Endeavor with Davi and Shigaraki, all of that stuff that's happened, it's a big deal. So like I'm not upset if Endeavor lost and Deku won, or it would have been the other way around. With Emma and Tanjiro though, that's a different story because I think their manga endings played a big part in why they couldn't have won. So that's where that
But listen, I understand. I get that. Okay. But Tanjiro, bro.
I'm with it.
What's going on, man? What are we doing in here, guys? What are we doing in here, guys? Do we not remember?
I think if the movie had came out this year, that would have been a different story. I hear
you, bro. I really feel you on that. I really do feel you on that. I get it. I understand because we like you said, we know the climax. It's different. Mm-hmm. So I can get it. I can get it. But man,
he learned how to fire dance this year, man. He did it all.
He did it this year, Mills.
You know what's the crazy part about that? Though?
Hanging out the side of his head.
Here's the worst part about the fire dance.
He was woo walking. He was fire woo walking. Like I'm not. I think Tanjiro has a case for the simple fact that even how his manga ended, he was literally in a battle until like the final 2 chapters. Like he was a warrior throughout the whole year until the final 2 chapters when he was finally defeated, and then you just immediately jump to the future. But so I get how he could be in this conversation. I do agree, like partly, that how this ended
it does play
it played
a role, right?
a huge
Which is
impact.
fair. It's fair. But Deku, I got nothing but love for Deku. Love my hero. So, I get it. No Chrome votes?
See, here's
No,
the
we got a
thing
No
though.
Chrome
Chrome
vote.
votes?
I was
Yeah,
about to say
Chrome.
I fuck with Chrome like on the low just because this was his breakout year. This was the first
Yeah,
chance that
most
he got
definitely.
out of Senku's like spotlight into Senku's spotlight and became like one of the primary drives in this big war arc between Senku and Zeno when they made the big trek over to America. So I think for Chrome in his aspect, I think for 2020, this was a big year for Chrome, and I'm glad that like he got some votes and people understood why he's here.
Right.
Eric, you started
Absolutely.
going up when the Tanjiro talk started happening. Did you vote for Tanjiro too?
Yeah, because it's funny because I haven't even finished the whole series yet. So, to be honest, but just in general, I can't hate on a man that's out here protecting his sister out here like that shit. Like I'm on the
That's
same
real.
level, and I fuck with that shit. So at least that's how I see it with him.
Absolutely.
Deku, I love Deku, but it's just too easy. It's too easy of a pick for me to pick him, man. All Might is too much of a great teacher for a character like him. And I can't. It's just so I had to go with Tanjiro. So that's how I
Absolutely,
feel.
man. But listen,
And last up, Mills. Mills, who did you vote for?
I don't even remember, to be honest with you.
All right, Cap.
I honestly don't remember.
You voted Deku, didn't you?
I'm
Mills?
pretty sure if I had to say the most likely
He probably voted
thing,
Endeavor.
it would have been Endeavor
I
did
could
get a
see
vote.
that.
I feel like I wouldn't, just because I feel like Endeavor had a great year, and I think just him being the initial leader of the war arc was just incredible, and having to read those first few chapters where he's like busting through the, sorry if this is spoilers for anyone in advance.
It's too late, man. It's too late.
I've been swimming in it. It's cool.
But he busts through the door and kicks through the door and starts raising hell on Nomus. That's as most non-spoilery that I can get with how the show works, but I won't say too much more. But with Deku, I mean, just him every week kind of tapping in and kind of going the distance and doing all of that, I would say likely I probably voted for him. But I'm not actually sure. I actually want to ask you, Jamal, since this guy, he got the second amount of most votes. He actually got tied for the second amount of most votes. I want to talk about Yuji Itadori from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Listen, man,
because I know you JJK stan.
Y'all was talking all that talk about everyone, and I was playing it cool, playing it safe because I was supposed to be moderating. Hey, Yuji was the best hero this year, bar none. Like everyone had great years. Everyone on this list had a great year. Yuji Itadori took it to the moon, bro. Like, he was hands down the best hero this year. He has pretty much two of the best fights of the year. I think even when you look at his growth as a character, and the burden that his character carries, especially with him, like knowing his death and knowing just a bunch of stuff. Like the fact that you first meet him, he has a strong will, but he has no direction for it. And usually you meet protagonists that have like this one hard drive that keeps them going. Like, I want to, like Tanjiro's like, I want to, defend my sister. Like, that's really it. Like, that's, but like usually he's had a strong will, but he didn't understand like the reasoning for it, like any of that. And through tragedy that he has gone up to now, like to see him become the monster that he is now, like usually he had this in the bag for me personally, like way over Deku. Way over Deku.
Absolutely.
I was absolutely surprised when I heard that name. I was like, how? Like, even in his own series, I wouldn't even call him the best hero this year.
Listen, you don't have to say how, because My Hero Academia is the most. This arc, all right, I'll say this. This arc was the one. You know what? We'll get into it, because I'm pretty sure this won't be the last time you talk about My Hero Academia on this. But Deku's popularity, just in general, throughout the year, he had a lot of great moments. He's had the entire machine working with him. He's got the anime running side by side with the manga. It's it's just different. It just is. So, congratulations to Deku, I guess. Winning manga favorite manga hero. Jabal, I think we got another manga one, so maybe let's get into that.
All right. And here are the nominees for Manga Villain of the Year.
Tim the Kid from Section 8 No Jujutsu Podcast here. All across anime, every year we see a variety of villains. Some play the long and sinister game like Sosuke Aizen, and others are popular and polarizing like Itachi from Naruto. But today, it is my pleasure to introduce the Manga Villain of the Year award. So our nominees are Zeno from Dr. Stone, Makima from Chainsaw Man, Mihito from Jujutsu Kaisen, Shigaraki from My Hero Academia, and Gabi from My Hero Academia. So, boys had to send me to pack the nice little award and everything in it. And our winner is Tomura Shigaraki. Yes, appreciate y'all. Keep looking out, and thanks for having me.
Wow. Back to back. Who would have thought?
Congratulations.
All right, so let's explain the nominees here, because it's an interesting set of nominees. Go get into. Do you know the nominees? I got them in front of me.
Yeah, I got them. I know the nominees. Okay. So for Manga Villain, it was Zeno from Dr. Stone, Makima, Chainsaw Man, Mahito, Jujutsu Kaisen, Shigaraki, My Hero Academia, Dabi, My Hero Academia.
I will say this. Everyone got votes except for one. If you can guess which one didn't get votes, I will just be proud of you, because I have nothing to give.
Zeno.
You said somebody didn't get a vote? It's definitely Zeno.
Yeah. It was Zeno. 100%. It was 100%. Zeno. Zeno's still kind of new, and also it's still kind of a lot. Dr. Stone is in this weird kind of a transition thing that Zeno was just brought up in. I think he just gets props for shooting. Sorry for spoilers ahead. But this is manga. All right, come on. This is manga.
If you're reading the manga, like, you know it.
It is what it is.
Okay, so I feel that Zeno was definitely the one out of the bunch. Let's go through who voted for who. Jeff, who did you vote for Villain of the Year?
I voted Dabi, actually. I did. I think the story is close to being groundbreaking, and it's not fulfilled yet. I thought it was. Obviously, if you've kind of known about My Hero, and these rumors have been out there, I think the actual chapters of the reveal is just phenomenal. I think it was. Him trending was awesome. You could tell people were talking about it, and it was a big thing. So I can't wait to see it animated, by the way. I know it's going to be absolutely beautiful, but he's got it in the bag for me. I would have went Shigaraki, and I would have went Mahito. Mahito's great as well. Great powers, by the way. Great domain. He's insane. I didn't know enough about Chainsaw Man at that point to give it my vote, so I didn't want to be the one. But Dabi he's my antagonist of the year in manga.
And let's jump to the other lookout crew member, Mills. Who did you have for manga villain of the year?
I voted for Shigaraki.
We know.
Did you see the story? Did you see the chapter of when he's like floating in space and there's like hands coming out? I don't know, I'm spoiling it, but it's really legitimately one of the best chapters of anything that I've read this year, of just the metaphor and all this other stuff. And he shows up and he's got a cape, and then he no longer has a cape. And he's jumping. He jumps from wherever the hospital is to the middle of the city in one leap. Like, come on. And
while knocking out communications.
Yeah, knocking out communications, chasing kids, beating up old people. Come on. Like,
it does sound fun.
Yeah. I got another question. I want to get through everybody's votes first though. Flo, who did you vote for manga villain of the year?
I also voted for Shigaraki. He was a terrorist, so he was on the tear. So I definitely just voted for him.
AD, who did you vote for? I was surprised you weren't the lone person that voted for Zeno.
No, I honestly voted for Makima, bro. Like, because when I told you about that binge that I was doing, and we had that whole conversation. I was just like, you know what, Makima got it after everything that she did and her introduction from chapter 2 or wherever she got introduced and how the story played out with Chainsaw Man. I was like, nope, she's literally the worst I've read this year so far. I was like, I had to put my vote in for her.
I respect it. Yeah, nah, she's first of all, Chainsaw Man becoming like as big as I feel it's becoming right now was very good to see, because I remember first reading it and first talking about it and then seeing where it's at now. I'm like, okay, yeah, like yeah. I had a good feeling about this one. I'm surprised people liked it too, as much as like as gruesome as it is.
It's like when you start it, it's like it's really abstract and it's like what kind of shit is this? Like, what am I reading? But then as you keep going, for some reason, like you just can't put it down, and so the story just keeps following up, and it's actually building up to something. So it's like, okay,
right. And I think, well, first of all, I want to add this thing before other people jump in. Makima was the runner-up.
Ooh, hey. I like that.
Yeah,
she was the runner-up.
Yes, sir.
She got a good amount of votes, so I just want to add that before everybody else jumps back in.
So Johnny, who did you vote for?
Yeah, so I put my vote in for Makima. It might just be like a recency thing, but yeah, I put it her just like from a psychological level. She was just, in her bag this year, like that line that's like any sort of happiness that you find in your life, I'll be the one to give it and take it all away. And I was like, God damn.
That shit hit so hard, and I was like, oh nah, bro.
And last but not least, Eric, who did you vote for?
Shit, you know what? I was gonna see Makima from Chainsaw Man, but Mahito from Jujutsu was on some foul shit. Just using people as much as he did, like that shit isn't. And this how grotesque like the like the curses that he uses were just insane. It just be killing. But Makima, like, yo, I really wanted to pick her because I kind of dealt with a woman like that before. And it's just,
I feel you,
but if I did, I feel like she would win if I did that. So I'm not gonna do that. So I had to go to Makito.
Oh, right.
No, but that's the thing that's the thing about Chainsaw Man a little bit, right? Like before, I was gonna wait till we got into actual manga thing, but I was telling people it's not really a story about chainsaws or like superpowers.
It's a love story, man. It's a love story. Yeah, it's a love. It really is. It's a breakup story, man. Everybody can relate to this, man.
Yeah, it just is. Like, and shout out to the author itself for just creating just a very. It's like it's a shonen protagonist, but it's not the same story, and it's not really told in the same type of way. So, yeah.
Mills, where did Dabi fall in the rankings?
Good question.
Dabi was third. It was second runner up. Dabi was right behind Makima.
Okay.
So I got Naito pulled up last, but he still got a solid amount of votes.
All right. One last question before we move on to our next category. So I feel these top three are like three very different types of villains. So it's like you have Shigaraki, who is it's an absolute power thing for him. He needs to defeat, one for all. Like it's a very absolute, who's going to be the strongest to like rule over, this country, this world, whatever. You look at Makima, and like we have talked about, this entire time, is her it was really a mental game for her. So like psychologically she was like abusing people. She was tormenting people like emotions. It really wasn't about power in a sense, but it's the mental mind games. And then you look at a villain like Dabi, whose whole agenda is pretty much like tearing down society as a whole. Like he doesn't really care about ruling over it. He doesn't care. He just wants to see the world burn, pretty much.
Very Joker.
Yeah, very, very Joker-ish. What type, like, are there, like, out of these three villains, what type of villain are you feel like you are most drawn to as a fan? If you get what I'm saying.
Personally,
right there with you.
That's real. That's real. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I like Shigaraki. I like Shiggy's whole gimmick, man. When it comes to like what I'm most attracted to, as far as like evil.
Right. Shout out to you, Evil, once again.
Yeah.
But I
We-
just I like the Dobby stuff a lot, man. I really did. Like I just thought it was brilliant, and that's kind of what got me. And I know like I said, his moment may be darker later, but right now, I understand. I get why Shigaraki is I understand why he won.
Yeah,
No,
I would say
same.
sorry to interrupt. I would say Dobby as well. I would say Dobby just because I always want to see what their limit is. Like, okay, is this too far? Is this too far? Like, when does it stop? So
I would
What
say
about-
for me,
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about you, AD?
I would say for me, it would have to be Makima just because of like it's her relationship with Denji is almost like pretty real. Like just imagine you like a young brother and you see a fine ass girl on the street. You just like, oh yeah, I gotta talk to her. You know what I mean? But a pretty face ain't all what it's cracked up to be because there's a whole lot of layers under that. She turns out to be manipulative and controlling. And I'm just like, okay, how Denji came out to how he evolved as a part of the story with his relationship with Makima and starting to understand the finer things in life and like understanding like there's a lot more to it than just this. You can't just give up your freedom and everything just for this one person, especially if you're really hurt by a lot of the things that are happening around you. You just can't give up on life and what your dreams and what you want to find your dreams to be. And so I feel like with Makima and Denji's whole character arc in the entire first half of Chainsaw Man, I like that a whole lot. That being said, I think Dabi's whole story as this year, insanity, pure chaos. Him and Shigaraki, the dynamic duo, like that's just my take on it. I like both of them, but for me, it's Makima.
Mills.
All right,
Oh.
I should probably expand on the Makima thing, so I just don't sound like some guy. Nah, she's the crazy thing is, I think with reading a lot of manga this year thus far, you haven't really seen many main villains that are women, and you don't really, because they usually get painted like, oh, she's just a crazy bitch. But I think just in this case of her, it just kind of like, it was a slow, gradual build, and then they kind of just lowered the boom on you, which was why it had so much of an impact. And it's crazy because, and this is how I know it's the mark of a great villain, because as much as I love the Dabi thing and the Shigaraki thing, and that's great, I think everyone who has read Chainsaw Man, when you get to that particular chapter, everyone audibly says, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like everyone. And it's because it's just completely takes you out of the, you're so drawn into the moment, you're so drawn into the story, you're so like, oh my God, he's finally about to get what he wants. And then when he finally gets there, it's like, wow, whoa, like it's kind of on another level, and it's playing with your emotions, and maybe it's playing on emotions of a lot of nerdy anime thing kids like we all are and stuff like that, who've all been through a similar situation maybe in one way or another. But it certainly is probably the most impactful, and I think it's probably the most original out of all of them that I've seen this year.
Yeah.
Nah, yeah, I definitely I agree with that. Johnny, who any last final thoughts on your type of villain?
Yes, I really so even though I voted Makima, like even though she has like I said, she had my vote with that. Like we didn't get like a ton of like backstory into like her stuff, but like I also enjoyed the Dabi thing of like this is a thing that's been building up like throughout the story. We find out that Endeavor is kind of he's the number one of top heroes, but he's kind of a piece of shit. And it's like here's we're seeing the results of his action in a physical form, that had been hinted at throughout the whole story, and culminating into what Dabi eventually came out to be. So I enjoyed having the villain being displayed in that way, where it's like it's the result of being like the Dabi that we were first introduced to is is nothing like what we eventually got. It's like I really enjoyed that evolution, from an evil standpoint from him as well.
All right, so that's pretty much going to wrap up our manga villain of the year talk.
Yeah, I mean, well, we have another category up. This is the first of the anime category, but it is the Showdown Anime Fight of the Year. That's right. It's I'll say this. Maybe it's been sponsored by Showdown. Listen to Showdown. Show up for Showdown. Absolutely. So let's get into the nominees for the Showdown Anime Fight of the Year.
What's going on, everybody? It is Chibithot coming to you live from North Hollywood, California. I hope everybody is enjoying the Lookout Awards so far. Here to give out one of my own, not one I created, but one I'm very happy to be announcing the nominees and winner for. One of the best things about anime is that it's got something for everybody. Cool guys, hot babes, robots, spaceships, cute animals, school, monsters, card games, and many of the best outfits of all time. However, I think we can all agree that anime would not be nearly as great without its most awesome aspect, which is the fights. Fighting is the centerpiece of anime, and if you disagree, you're wrong. Anime fights have given us some of the most iconic moments between heroes and villains in the history of television. We love it. No matter how much you love the other stuff, we know you're waiting to see the fights. So without further ado, here are the nominees for the Showdown's Anime Fight of the Year. Satoru Gojo vs. Jogo, Jujutsu Kaisen. Deku vs. Overhaul, My Hero Academia. Endeavor vs. High-End Nomu, also My Hero Academia. Shinra vs. Sharon, Fire Force. And Jin vs. Park, God of High School. And the winner of the Showdown's Anime Fight of the Year is Endeavor vs. Nomu in My Hero Academia. So congratulations to them. Cannot imagine a much better honor being bestowed upon you other than probably winning the fight itself. So that's that from me, and I'll talk to everybody soon.
All right, and of course, I think everyone saw it coming. My Hero Academia, once again, third victory in a row. Will they go for the full sweep or just the gentleman's sweep? We don't know. But Endeavor versus the High-End Nomu manages to edge it out. Listen, I will say this hasn't been a major year for anime, considering a lot of things have been left back. A lot of things were chopped off. A lot of things were slowed down. So I'm not even gonna. But My Hero Academia, I will say this: they had two in this, in this category, just basically because I think when you look at both of those fights, I think I don't want to say they broke their internet in their own particular way, but I think they were very prominent in terms of like animation, story, delivery, what it meant, the emotional weight factor of kind of everything that's done here. But we can run through the categories and see what everyone voted. Everything except one got a vote. But we had Satoru Gojo versus Jogo in Jujutsu Kaisen, one of the earliest fights. Shout out to the domain expansion, which completely wow.
So cool. Yeah.
Deku versus Overhaul. Of course, My Hero Academia. It's the final fight in the Overhaul arc. Deku Infinite 100% goes absolutely insane. Of course, we have the winner, Endeavor versus the High-End Nomu, which ended up being the season finale of season 4 of My Hero Academia. We had Shinra versus Sharon in Fire Force. And of course, we had Jin versus Park, God of High School. All but one got a vote. Can you guys guess which one did?
Jin versus Park.
Jin versus Park.
Yeah. Or Fire. I think it's Fire Force, actually.
Well, we
Fire
know it
Force
wasn't.
was the
it
one
wasn't
that
one of
didn't
the
get a
first
vote.
three.
It didn't get a vote?
Fire Force
That's
didn't get a
interesting.
vote.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
That's interesting.
You know what I'll say? It's
That's
probably
crazy.
we did this nomination before the final fight scene in Fire Force. I haven't seen the season, but I did see a little bit of the final fight scene, and it's probably worthy of the nomination itself, just because Fire Force final, etc. But I'm gonna go back and watch season 2 at some point. But Jin versus Park, I mean, it got a vote. It got a vote, but it got a vote nonetheless.
Was it AD?
Nah, not me.
I like how we're all thinking AD.
Why y'all gotta point at me, bro?
Yeah, listen,
I'm
bro.
just saying. I'm just saying.
They listen to the show, bro. They know.
Listen,
But that's the thing.
Listen.
Like, if they listen to the show, they know that while I did nominate it, I wouldn't vote it. Like, I just understand, like, okay, this is a good spectacle. Like, Jin vs. Park was a good spectacle just because it's done by the same studio that did Jujutsu Kaisen. So it's like you're gonna everything that you would expect from Jujutsu Kaisen, you could say is a precursor in what happened in Jin versus Park in God of High School. So like that fight was completely like all out insanity. Great. They're jumping around the ring. Jin Mori has like his whole transformation with the double twin kick dragons. Y'all got to see that. It's insane.
That shit was insane.
That shit was crazy.
That was wild. That was wild.
This him doing the triple kick, yo, was like what? Yo, what?
That shit is wild. Like we talking about it, so like it's an insane fight, but like compared to everything else here, it is what it is.
Absolutely. All right,
man, so those are there's some fights. Honestly, you could have voted for three of these, and you're not wrong. You know, I really feel like this could have went any kind of way. Like the Goyo fight is incredible. The domain, the beautiful eyes, that shit is crazy, bro. Like it's just it's just a really nice fight. The overhaul fight was so sick. You know, I think I was texting Mills when I was like first watching it, like, yo, this is insane. But
it gets wild.
It does
get wild. But the Endeavor fight had me holding my breath. And it's real, you know what I'm saying? The Todoroki has a really nice scene at the end where, like, you know, I think Deku and like somebody else is surrounding him, like he looks totally like exhausted just from like watching. It was just really good representation of how he was feeling, and I was like, yo, this episode is really great. So you could have voted for any three of those, and I would have been cool, you know what I'm saying? So, but I get why it won.
Listen, Eric, hold on. Let's run down everybody first, because I want to definitely the second half of the Showdown crew. Eric, what did you think? Yeah. Which one was the best one for you?
You know, like as you can see by my excitement earlier, the Jin and Park match was bananas, because like I remember. If I would have voted, yes, I would have been the one.
You would have been the two. You would have been the two. Fair enough.
So, but just watching the beginning of that and like how it came to that fight, and it was just like two different types of like fighting styles just come together and then just be drawn to that. And I was just like with AD saying, thinking about Jiu-Jitsu later on, I was like, yeah, this is Mappa. So whatever is going on here is going to be amazing when Jiu-Jitsu comes out. So I was like super excited when I saw that.
I think with in addition to Jin versus Park, it's a mix of like the martial arts that we come to love in like old school Dragon Ball, but mixed with like the Dragon Ball Z style with like blasts and stuff. But it ties it so well. It's choreographed extremely well. Like all the stuff that happens in the Jin versus Park fight is really dope.
Like whatever artist does it, he definitely had to like look at like martial artists drawing it, because it was so perfect. like the moves that they were doing, it was so drawn well.
Absolutely. Jamal, what did you get in that favorite anime fight, Showdown anime fight of the year?
You know, I gave it to Endeavor. I gave it to Endeavor and the High-End Nomu.
You don't seem excited.
I'm not excited that Fire Force got kind of snubbed on that. That kind of made me.
I kind of agree with you too, because that was crazy.
Wait. Fire Force got no votes. I was like, dang, that's wild. Okay, I've seen the Jin versus Park fight, and that was dope. It was a very great fight.
I need context. I've seen it too, but I need the context.
You know what I'm saying? I need context like you, but. The fights that happen on Fire Force are so amazing to me. They are so like from the sound effects, from how it's like you said, how it's drawn, the choreography, and their fights are crazy. Like I rate
they stretch out a lot with fire. They really just do.
They really do. But I like fire. That's why I like Endeavor so much. I like fire. I enjoy fire powers. I enjoy fire Pokemon. Listen, I mess with fire. So, but no, I think Endeavor though, I had to give it to him. I think the Deku moment was really great. Him versus Overhaul. The infinite 1000 or the infinite 100%. Like it was really crazy to me. But when you look at the Endeavor fight, there is so much emotion behind it, and there's so much weighing on it, and as just weighing just on the character. Deku was having his fight, and obviously, Deku's going to be emotional regardless about his journey and why he has to win and all this and all the people he got to protect, and which is cool.
And everything else, of course.
Yeah, and everything else. I think this is the first time we have seen Endeavor, a man that they have already shown to become this cold-hearted. He does not care. Only thing he cares about is becoming the number one hero. Like he doesn't give a crap about anything else. And you see him kind of hit this shift of like him really figuring out what being the number one hero means to him, and him really taking up that mantle and like being like, listen, I'm Endeavor, I'm here, like you guys are in good hands. Like he is, you kind of see his his want to be All Might in a sense like go away, and you see him like, no, I am Endeavor and I'm taking my stand here. Like this number one hero shit, like this shit's mine. And I think that just emotional fight and everything that he is wrestling with internally and trying to become like a better hero and a better man, and for him to like have that win right there, I was like, this is the one for the year.
Absolutely. Marcus, what did you have? What did you vote for?
Yes, I also voted for the Endeavor fight just because of the emotional weight that it was on Endeavor for him to, because it seemed like just in that battle he didn't really have to deal with the adversity, but having to deal with that adversity while trying to be the number one hero at the same time, and to be different than All Might, just because before in the ceremony they were like, he's the number one hero now, but he also like he's always been in All Might shadow, so he just trying for him to break out of that shadow of just like All Might being like a big brother type of figure, and him seeing him as a rival and trying to break out of that and to carve his own path. That just like, it wasn't as much as the battle as it was the emotional weight of what it meant for Endeavor in that battle.
Absolutely. AD, which one did you pick?
Honestly, I think I picked Gojo versus Jogo for Jujutsu Kaisen purely off of recency bias, but also like the moment that Gojo puts his two fingers up when Jogo is attacking and the screen immediately like glitches. I was like, oh no, oh no, hold up. I rewind and play that back twice. I was like, did I miss something here? So like, it's so good. The domain expansion, him taking off the blindfold and revealing the eyes, and Jogo going through the warp space, and like all of this, everything just stops, dog. It was spectacular.
Absolutely. Johnny, who you got?
Yeah, so for this one, I went with Deku versus Overhaul. This fight was just stemmed from just a chance encounter on the street and ended up with Deku taking down a very powerful, dangerous individual, and they doing it spectacularly. Like the way that it ended up looked amazing.
No, I agree with all of this. I think they're all worthy to be there. If we could have squeezed a little bit thing, I think there's a second part of this Mahito fight and Jujutsu Kaisen that came out this week where they beat his ass. Yeah. And that I would have snuck in there.
That was clean. That was so clean.
We'll get into that when we get to
let's make sure a note to save that for 2021 unless unless something better comes along, which I'm sure it will. All right. I think we should get into the next category. We're going for the big ones now. These are the big two of the year. Jamal, let's get into it. It's another manga one.
All right. So you've been along with the ride for us this whole year. And it is now time for the Big Eyes manga of the year.
Crazy.
So there's a lot of good things that have came out this year. There are a lot of good things that we have read and have talked about on the show, but there can only be one. There can only be one manga of the year, And here are the nominees for the Big Eyes Manga of the Year.
Hey y'all, it's Victoria L. Johnson from the Sailor Mechanical Podcast, and I'm here to announce the Big Eyes Manga of the Year. Magical friendships, engaging storylines, the build up to a great fight, and so much more makes manga one of the best things ever. And this year's nominees are no different. The nominees for the Big Eyes Manga of the Year are My Hero Academia by Kohi Horikoshi, Spy X Family by Tatsuya Endo, Jujutsu Kaisen by Gurger Akutami, Chainsaw Man by Tatsuki Fujimoto, Demon Slayer by Koyoharu Gotoge, Attack on Titan by Hajime Isayama, and The Promised Neverland by Kaiju Shirai. And this year's winner is My Hero Academia. One of my favorites. Once again, this is Victoria L. Johnson, aka Miss Old School with a K, and I'm from the Sailor Mechanical Podcast. And back to the lookout.
My Hero.
Sweep.
It is. Listen,
My Hero is putting up crazy numbers right now.
Insane.
I'll say this. Looking at the being able to tell how many people who voted for what, it got nearly half of the votes. Nearly half, which kind of shows just how a juggernaut of a show this is. And I think, you know what? I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to completely downplay it, because it had a major arc this year, and I think everyone has been hanging on every chapter, even still to this day, as we're moving to 2021. We finished the war arc, and it's like, what's next? And there's spoilers out there. I wish I could talk to someone who would openly, willingly love spoilers, and so I could just get it out. But everyone's hanging on it and every word with My Hero Academia. Listen, I think this entire category, Jamal, maybe you want to go through the nominees because it's stacked. It really is.
No, yeah, this was a crazy year in manga. Because My Hero has been, it didn't just become a juggernaut type thing. It has been a juggernaut for, easily the past 2 years. And you got a nice mix of, stuff like that, but also things that are just jumping on the scene. Spy Family was one of the, okay, so you had My Hero Academia, Spy Family, Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, The Promised Neverland. Those were the nominees for the manga of the year. And within this mix, we got a nice little mix of things that have been popping, things that are new this year or just came up, and you got even a monthly on here. So I think this list really speaks to just where manga is at right now. Even just choosing some of these, and I feel that Haikyuu got snubbed. It should have been one of the options for manga of the year. But yeah, I think that it was a crazy year. But like you said, My Hero, I can't downplay it as much as I want to, as much as I want to be like, man, all these other things are great. Like, they really gave us something that we've all been waiting for so long, especially fans who have been reading it since the beginning. Johnny, who did you give your manga of the year vote to?
Yes, I don't recall exactly who I picked, but as far as talking about the winner, My Hero, talk about manga, of the year, we've spent this whole year just waiting, every chapter, especially this war arc has been a huge roller coaster of emotions. We have and so I think it's very very deserved of something that represents this whole year of something that we've been all waiting on waiting on every chapter, and just so very, very deservedly so. My Hero winning.
Eric, manga of the year, who had your vote?
Demon Slayer. Enough said.
Jeff, who had your manga of the year vote?
Manga of the year. Well, the only manga that I finished this year was Demon Slayer. I voted Demon Slayer because that's what I finished. I didn't want to be weird. I wouldn't want to be weird and give my vote to something I haven't finished. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go Demon Slayer here. Although Mills is on me because he's like,
I've given up
to catch up on. It's tough. It's tough. So, but yeah,
I've given up. It's never gonna happen. I'm
Listen,
openly
man.
spoiling shit.
Jeff's gonna free float, bro. Jeff gonna do what he want to do. You gotta,
It's tough, man.
He's just gonna do whatever he wants to do.
Jeff is gonna do whatever he wants to do. He'll like if you ask Jeff to do
it,
he'll get to it.
He'll eventually get to it, man. Trust me. I've known this man for years.
He'll get to it. It's just when he wants to get to it.
Exactly.
Right.
It's tough, man.
Listen.
Flo,
the hard part is I want to openly spoil things in front of him, but I still care enough to not.
I try to tell him I don't mind. I'm not the one. I don't.
Nah, bro. I be hitting Jeff up. I be hitting Jeff up wild crazy, wild hot. I be in there posting panels. I'll be like, "Hey, Jeff, look at this." I was not even there yet, bro.
Trust. Jeff has spoiled many of endings of me.
Sometimes I just have to, man.
And I'll be like, I literally tell him, do not tell me anything. He's like, yo,
I'll be like, listen, I gotta tell you this.
I gotta let it out my chest. That's usually what he'll come to. I gotta let it out.
Oh man, Flo, who did you vote manga of the year?
My manga of the year was My Hero Academia. I really enjoyed it. Especially, I'm still getting through the war arc, but it's just been such a fun ride. That was my manga of the year.
And last but not least, I couldn't wait to hear your thoughts on this. My co-host, AD, who was your vote for manga of the year?
I was basic. I chose My Hero. I mean, when you think about it, literally the first chapter, the very first chapter that came out this year for My Hero was the beginning of the war arc. I think that's all that needs to be said about how this year of My Hero has been. So,
Jamal, who did you pick?
Oh, I picked Jujutsu Kaisen. You already know where I was going with this. I picked Jujutsu Kaisen. I was fully invested into this manga this year. I think that the manga mixed with the first season right now, it puts it on just another level. And that's not to downplay once again My Hero. Like My Hero has had a tremendous year. I think the war arc is easily one of the best things to come out this year. Jujutsu Kaisen has kept me so drawn in though. From the art style to the fighting to the characters, the character development that's going on there. It has just kept me I really hate that I read it weekly because I just want to read more of it. But yeah, I know I'm about to. I'm about to. Like for real, I'm about to. But I think Jujutsu Kaisen just had a year, man, and I really did think that this year I was like, there's as good as My Hero was. My Hero just didn't have that little extra something that Jujutsu Kaisen had for me this year.
Well,
I'll say this about Jujutsu Kaisen. It's slowly gonna creep up. Like I think next year it's gonna be a bigger contender for a lot of the stuff that may come out next year that we can potentially dive into. But I think Jujutsu Kaisen is gonna be in the very same place that My Hero was this year.
You know what's crazy is I started reading Jujutsu Kaisen just because the anime and everyone was kind of telling me to read it, et cetera, et cetera. And I think I just stopped at some point because it got a little bit too complicated in terms of the whole structure of the like powers and curses and all this other stuff. I was kind of losing the understanding of like where I'm at and what's actually kind of going on and how do you get stronger and all this other stuff like that. So I kind of just took a back seat. But everything I listen to the Big Eyes weekly. The great part is I listen to it weekly. I'll hear you guys talk about these things, but I have absolutely no context for it. So I actually don't even, I'm like, oh, okay, this must be cool. Okay. But I don't actually, it doesn't absorb in my brain of actually what's going on because I have no idea what's going on, but I still listen every week. But I'm looking forward to getting back into it, especially considering 2 animes on this are officially gone. Well, 3, Chainsaw Man as well is officially, wrapped up part 1 of this. Demon Slayer's gone. The Promised Neverland's gone. Haikyuu's finished. What else just wrapped up recently? So Attack on Titan is finishing probably at the top of next year.
Yeah.
Man, pour one out, man. We losing a lot of goats.
Yeah.
I will say this. The Promised Neverland would have had my vote if it didn't end in March.
It ended in like April or May. It ended around the same time as Demon Slayer.
If it didn't end so early, it would have definitely had my vote because I personally think that The Promised Neverland is one of the greatest mangas ever written.
Well, yeah. And they're still dropping their little side chapters things, which are incredible.
Yeah, which were absolutely incredible.
I think when you're able to drop those little chapters and still get people involved with the story, that just kind of it kind of lends to the strength of the story itself, because it's just The Promised Neverland. We were very critical, especially everyone. I think even Jamal, in terms of like, okay, let's wrap this up. Come on, you guys are running out the clock. It's like we're OT, but now it's like we're in like 3 OT at this point. But I think it's just a great story, and it just did a lot.
No, it definitely, and yeah, that would have been my vote if it didn't like wrap up earlier this year. Like if the like back half of 2019 of that story was in 2020, it would have easily won manga of the year for me.
Absolutely.
And I was also surprised too to see how big Chainsaw Man became. We talked about this earlier, but definitely seeing Chainsaw Man getting the type of popularity it has now and seeing as many people read it, it's been fun. And it's just great to see. I think it definitely belonged on this list. Would I have had it win? No. But it did damage this year. Like it made some noise, and it made enough noise to now like we're all pretty excited to see what season 1 looks like of this, when it gets animated.
And then let's also clap it up for Spy Family because it did get some votes.
It's coming.
Let's go.
I'll attribute it to AD and Jamal. I'll just attribute to that in terms of just pushing the Spy Family agenda so damn hard.
Hey man, we here for wholesome content, man. Wholesome content.
Like
Spy Family you get shows Chainsaw and Spy Family. Just emotions is 2 of them.
Yeah, when you have a story like look at Spy Family compared to everything else on here, and tell me what the difference is. True. If the first thing ain't like blood and gore, then there's something to question about that. But Spy Family is like the most wholesome thing. It doesn't need to be as action packed and focused heavy on like the different themes of like life and all of these like different aspects. It's just a wholesome story. It's like a romantic comedy between all of these 3 different people who have these separate lives going on, but are trying to just like come together and want to. I don't want to say like they have ulterior motives, but they kind of do. But they all have them in like the most wholesome way, and they start to understand and grow with each other into like a very functional family. Like even though there's something, it's kind of like the One Piece effect to me, where it's like they all have their own different styles and specialties, but they can come together because they care about each other, or they're starting to understand and care about each other. So with Spy Family, I'm glad that a lot of people are getting into it and enjoying it. It's a great story. I can't wait for this anime to come out. I need that jazzy, uptune, tempo beat. You know what I mean? Like I need all of that stuff for the soundtrack and the animation style. So great shout out to Spy Family.
Absolutely. Let's move into the last category of this, and then maybe we'll still reveal some of the other winners as well. We'll do a quick speed round. But the last category, the final category, Lookout's Anime of the Year. Let's get into the nominees.
Hey everybody, my name is Chibithot, and to be a good anime, especially in a year like this where people are looking for that great escape, you have to have it all. You're gonna have to come with a great plot, amazing visuals, really touching music, and characters that you have to love. For me personally, I'm all about the visuals, but if I have a character that I love, then I'm probably gonna love the anime, which I think is right. And now, the nominees for the Lookout Awards Anime of the Year: Beastars, Haikyuu to the top, My Hero Academia, Fire Force, Great Pretender, Kaguya-sama, Love is War, and Jujutsu Kaisen. And the winner is My Hero Academia. Congratulations to the anime for winning Anime of the Year. That's super big. Also, if anyone's interested, definitely feel free to follow me in my socials. It's Chibithot with a 0 on Twitter and Instagram. Congratulations, everyone. This is really fun. Thank you guys for having me. Later.
And of course, I mean, I don't know what else to say. The clean sweep. My Hero Academia once again.
I understand.
It wins.
Oh man,
that's a TKO.
Who voted B stars? Who voted B stars?
I ain't gonna hold you. If there's a vote, I'm pretty sure it was me.
There is a vote for B stars.
I did not like it at all.
You didn't like it at all?
I did not like it at all. I think it's awful.
Well, listen, I think. Hold on, let me see.
Hey, B stars was huge this year. That's the crazy thing. B stars had a crazy year.
I don't like it.
I mean, just because they had a crazy year doesn't mean I haven't finished.
Nasty work. It's nasty work.
Nasty work.
All of the nominees except one got a vote. So, of course, in this category, we had B stars, we had Haikyuu to the top, we had My Hero Academia, Fire Force, Great Pretender, Kaguya-sama Love is War, and Jujutsu Kaisen. If you guys can guess which one didn't get a vote.
Fire Force.
I'm expecting Kaguya-sama.
Yeah, same. No way nobody voted for Fire Force. Right?
Great Pretender is the one that didn't get a vote.
Okay.
That's kind of surprising.
That is. That's kind of whack, bro. Great Pretenders is heat. I mess with Great Pretender.
Yeah, I mess with it too.
Should have voted for it. With that said, overwhelmingly, it was actually, I would say this: the winner, obviously, My Hero Academia. The runner-up, we had a debate on whether we should put this on, but the runner-up was indeed Jujutsu Kaisen.
It doesn't belong. Doesn't belong.
I agree with it not really belonging. It's crazy that it was runner-up, though.
I disagree with both of you strongly.
Hey, man, I'm not gonna hold you.
It's so fresh.
I'm not gonna hold you because the first half of the first season ended like this week. I'm not hurt by it. I understand why. Like these first 13 episodes have been crazy.
They have been.
If I had added if we had added Attack on Titan, I would have 100% took the "You're wildin'. Why are you even adding this?" Episodes in, all this
I'm
other
not
stuff.
mad it's here. But I understand why it wasn't first.
Jujutsu Kaisen, at this point, in terms of it had established a protagonist, it has established powers. It's not over yet, but I don't think any anime needs to be over for you to be like, damn, that's good. You know?
Yeah. But anime of the year, like, it's very hard to. New. Yeah, so I think that I just agree with Jeff in terms of
we need cutoff dates like the Grammys. This would have never happened.
unless we start doing it in like January. Unless we start doing this in January, so we can make sure.
I think if the first season isn't complete, we have to have the full body of work.
Listen. I'm just playing. Listen, I understand why it was nominated. I think it's been out long enough to where the characters have been, fallen in love with. The story's been built. You can understand it. You can see that obviously visually it's gorgeous. It's probably going to continue to stay that way. So I get why it's on here.
And it's a major talking point for the year. I think when you talk about anime in 2020, you talk about the debut of Jujutsu Kaisen.
My Hero is just too massive.
It is.
The past season was amazing. And then there's a lot to look forward to going forward. So it ended really well.
Let's not forget the movie came out.
And the movie, there's a lot of things you could really put on My Hero. So it's I understand why it happened this way. I get it.
Listen, the movie, the manga, the show, everything, they're running a very well-oiled machine. When we first talk about My Hero on the Lookout podcast, I was like, is this like an industry plant show? Because it's moving too well for it. Like it comes out legitimately new
the numbers
episodes
is crazy, man.
every year.
Ridiculous.
Like, we're still waiting for Demon Slayer the movie. We don't even have a date for that in terms of America. I mean, I've seen it already, but y'all need to know that. But we don't have a date for it in America, but it's still one of the biggest things worldwide. And it's like, well, how come a lot of animes aren't kind of moving at the same speed as like My Hero Academia? And it made me question
it. The stars aligned, man. The stars aligned.
I think it just mixes in so much. I think it's pretty easy to digest in terms of like, especially the themes. Like you got superheroes, you got anime. You know, just off rip, the theme of it is very easy to get into. But I think a lot of people say that about it, and they try to say it in a way that takes away from the fact that it still tells a very good story. It still makes you care about characters. It's still, in characters outside of the main, protagonist and in the main bunch. Like My Hero does a lot of things very well, and they just so happen. And I think they should know it's harder for them because they're doing something so like, pop and so mainstream of like anime superheroes with powers and quirks and like this Superman type figure. I think it's harder to tell a compelling story, especially when you're using all those pieces that have been used before. So yeah, right. Was it my choice? No.
Let me ask this for the room because I think this will make it easier in terms of this. Was there anyone here who didn't pick My Hero Academia?
I didn't.
I did not.
I did.
I did not.
I did.
Okay. So AD, which one you told me which one you picked. Sell me on Beastars, please.
All right. So
no, I'm leaving the room, man. I'm leaving the room.
I'm just saying, dog. So here's the thing about Beastars. I ain't gonna hold you. I was with Jeff like in the beginning because when I first watched it, I was like, yo, what the fuck is this like furry ass like it made me cringe. Like I feel like I shouldn't be watching this and somebody walk in the room.
It's for a different type of anime fan.
It's weird, bro.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It reaches that it's really that 3D CG uncanny valley because they all
man, it's the AD agenda. That's why
I don't like the animation.
But here's the thing, like
the 80s brain.
No, because here's the thing, bro. Like as I was watching it, like I kind of got over like the cringy stuff, but when you start paying attention to the story, it's like a guy who's just in between this carnal desire to eat everything because they're set in an animal world, but they're humanoids. So they have these rules and restrictions on, hey, you can't eat herbivores. You can't do this, this, and this. They have a black market for all the carnivores that they can go shop at because obviously it's a public thing, but they still have to feed their desires. And like you have this wolf whose carnal desire is to eat this rabbit. But then he starts to understand the rabbit and like kind of fall in love with her. But they have this dynamic of, I'm kind of scared of him, but I'm interested in him. But like, so it's this whole like mind game of relationships. It's like high school, bro. It's something different. It takes the rules of the animal world and puts them in like a high school setting. And that's what I really found interesting about it. Like they have like plays where one of the main characters who also is in love with the rabbit. And so it's like this whole love triangle. There's a kidnapping scene. People get shot. It's a whole lot of stuff that goes on like that falls deeper into like that animal world, and the world building is great. The characters are good. The music is fantastic. It's literally just the animal aesthetic that kind of threw me off at like the first two.
Look at their long, lanky bodies.
But that's what I'm saying. I got over that. Honestly, I really got over that, bro. Like it is what it is. Like
I get it.
Beastars is just like Zootopia produced by Bang Bros. Like
pretty much.
Basically.
That's basically what it is.
Eric, who did you pick?
I don't remember if I actually picked Jujutsu, but I know for sure in my heart it's Fire. I picked Fire Force because I loved Soul Eater, and it's the same guy who created Soul Eater, and I was like watching it, I'm like, there has to be a connection, and they actually do in the series, like in a couple episodes in, but I don't want to spoil that. But it's just when you see it, and it's my mind fucking exploded. Literally like one of these episodes on the show, and like to see like to know that it's in somewhat in a similar universe and be completely different, because like it's all about demons and your inner, like all about basically like feeling down and stuff, and somehow those emotions cause you to become a fire demon, and every like the firefighters there are actually like exorcists in the same time. Like that shit was just like a crazy concept, and like the music was like the music all right. It's definitely top 5, like top 3 intro musics of the year for sure for the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'll definitely fight for anybody for that. I'll say top 3 for this show because it was just amazing. It's drawn like the final fight, like the final fight from the first season was awesome. Like between the brothers, like between the two brothers.
Shin versus Sho is it's an all-time anime fight right there.
Yo, that was insane.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Absolutely. Jamal, who did you pick?
You already know. I'm a certified lover boy around here. Listen, I know I talk tough on the anime on the podcast. I know I be about my violent stuff on the TL.
I know exactly what this man said. Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
But if you know me, I'm a very emotional and sweet human being. Love is war.
Hey,
I'll give you a Sama.
I respect.
Mad respect.
Listen, that's my shit on the low. That is I like. Listen, I bang with it. I think that this season was really good. Yeah, bro. Listen, I read a lot of shonen. I read a lot of stuff that got a lot of action to it, and so Great Pretenders in this were kind of because I had like binged like the whole series of Kaguya-sama, and like it's a nice change of pace in the stuff that I like always read, and like I think it is a nice change of pace in terms of it really tells a very compelling story. I think the comedy in there actually hits. It's just a different feel and a different vibe than the stuff that I'm used to, and it really kept me drawn in, kept me interested, like these other things do. Like even though like there's not these big action things, that there's stuff like in there, like the emotion that they invoke, and like the like I said, the comedy in there, the relationship between two characters, like all of that keeps me like drawn in, like really into the story. I wanted to vote for My Hero. Because I thought season 4 was definitely great, and it was definitely a highlight of the year. But for me, it's really, I think I'm so far ahead in the manga, or like we in the manga, so my head is going straight to like what season 5 is about. That season 4 felt so much like a setup thing for me. But no, yeah, Love is War. Kaguya-sama. I got my vote.
Johnny, who did you pick?
Yeah, so despite not having a full season of work to judge it on, I went with Jujutsu Kaisen just because of, it was one of, the best looking things that I watched this year. It got to have its little run uncontested, like we said, like a lot of stuff, that was supposed to come out this year got pushed. So they were able to, premiere and have this little episode like run, almost uncontested. Like right now we're, it's kind of bumping up with Attack on Titan right now, but the first couple stretches, like the whole, as far as like anime Twitter, it's like it was, Jujutsu Kaisen's time, and they had their own little app-breaking moment when they first premiered. So I just, had to show love to that series, and I can't wait to see more of the moments that I read, come to life on the screen.
All right, absolutely. Flo, who did you pick?
My fault, y'all. I'm going with My Hero Academia just because it was very, I don't want to say easy to follow, but it was fun for me to just get into as a fan of comic books and anime, and it just felt like a merger of the two. And this year was just really just a dope storyline, and just with everything happening with All Might and Deku and Endeavor. So yeah, that was my favorite.
Absolutely. And Jeff, take it home. Who'd you get?
Hey man, I mean, it's My Hero Academia. I understand why. I totally agree. I kind of mentioned it earlier. It is easy to follow, and I don't know. Anime can sometimes oversimplify their entire story. One thing that I always tell Mills about My Hero, since we went over it so much now, is having so many different characters and being able to understand each and every one of them the right way and not get overwhelmed by just, having so many. They do a really great job just getting through it and building villains to where you still care about other villains while you're watching the main one for this particular arc. You still, like, when we're talking about, overhaul, we still have in the back of our minds, everyone else. And I think that's a great feeling. It's really difficult to do. When we're watching Frieza Saga, we're not thinking about, I wasn't really thinking about who the next villain was. I was really locked in on Frieza, and My Hero does a really good job just keeping everything in perspective. This season was incredible. So I understand, man. It's just too good. I think Jujutsu came in a little too late to get this win. Or, man, if it had maybe 6 more months, it could have really put up. I really believe that. Maybe if season 1 did totally clear. But My Hero Academia is number 1.
Absolutely. I picked My Hero Academia. It doesn't. We don't. It doesn't need anything. But I fully still stand by my Jujutsu. It don't take too long for you to get into an anime. I get it. The arc is finished. There's a whole bunch of things, but Jujutsu Kaisen, I think when you think about 2020 anime, you're not going to think about it for 2021 anime because you're going to have 8 million things throwing at you. Promise. If Demon Slayer decides to come back, The Promised Neverland, Attack on Titan is going to finish. There's so many different things. I think when you think 2020 in anime, you're going to really think Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, damn, they really, and the closing theme. I mean, come on. Like,
the closing theme. Should we have a theme of the year?
The intro
award?
as well.
Yo.
The intro and the outro is just fantastic.
Yeah, both were dope. Intro
I
and
don't
the
care what
outro.
anybody says, bro. I mean, if you want to talk about real quick, just a intro, outro. Look, man, I'm gonna stand by this, and I'm not backing down. The first half outro for Fire Force is the craziest shit I've heard from an anime.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Talk that shit.
Bro.
Talk that shit.
I know it switched over like mid-season to the other one, which is good too. But that first one is fantastic. Like, it's just too good. It's just
you know what I like about that outro too? It's like game outro. It's like a mobile game where they're riding on the car and like Arthur is fighting like off the different demons and stuff. I was like, yo, they actually took some care. Like, that's something that people really wouldn't pay attention to.
Exactly.
But like it's something interesting. Like, I kind of like outros that do stuff like that, where it's not just a scrolling background of like the character art or something like that. They're doing something like graphically pleasing.
Right, absolutely. With that said, I want to run through really, really quickly. I'll do it for manga and anime, Jamal, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Go ahead. Do your thing.
The remaining categories, I'll just say who the winner is. I won't go through the nominees, but we had favorite anime studio. Of course, MAPPA Studios. They gave us Jujutsu. They gave us Attack on Titan, Doro. AD, for me. There you go.
And that's actually a real great series too. Sorry, go ahead.
And just so much more. So they take it home in a very non My Hero Academia category. Anime hero, Deku. Anime villain, Overhaul. Let's see. Manga male character, Bakugo.
You already know what it is. The hive out here, bro.
Wow.
Nice. Talk to me nice. Oh.
Favorite manga female character, Makima.
Not surprised.
Favorite
manga. I love you.
Yeah. Favorite manga. Trust me. Don't let Jeff find Makima because he's gonna be like, "Oh, I love her. She's incredible." Like, this is
it takes a lot. Me, man. Once I fall for the character, I do it. But I'll have to really dive in a little more.
Absolutely. Favorite manga fight, the Heroes versus Shigaraki. So essentially, it was a clean sweep from My Hero Academia.
That's
they were
incredible.
nominated into the category. So for our first Lookout Awards, we'll have to remember it all as a My Hero Academia beatdown.
Incredible.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. How this year went, My Hero how this year has gone, My Hero had this, like, they really had an open lane.
It's elite. It's pretty good. Like, I think honestly, if a lot of animes premiered a little bit earlier, they would have had a lot more of a fight, especially when you talk about the stand-up for Attack on Titan. I mean, broke Crunchyroll. I think it's probably breaking Crunchyroll right now, to be honest with you. But it's just, just so much of this year. I want to thank everybody I'm going to share on the side to everybody in terms of, because I added some questions about Big Eyes and Lookout and stuff you can think and stuff people want to hear. So I'll share that on the side with everybody else. But I want to thank everyone for voting. I want to thank everyone for listening this year. This has by far been our most successful year for the Lookout in terms of just transforming it from just one podcast into kind of a whole network and expanding our nerddom and animedom and mangadom and everything kind of moving forward. And it's been great having a full team of you guys and working with you guys for the entire year, and hope to continue it in 2021. I mean, this year, gosh, we interviewed manga editors, we interviewed WWE wrestlers, we interviewed voice actors, we interviewed kind of everybody. I mean, we had so many people. I think one of our, even I'll talk about it because Pat isn't here, but even one of our underrated ones as well, Mount Silver Podcast, it always just, people love Pokemon, believe it or not. And I was so surprised that people would listen to us for 90 minutes talk about Pokemon, but it just is what it is. But so many different things. And I want to thank, AD and Jamal every week for doing the Big Eyes, because doing a podcast weekly, I know, and Jeff knows, it is not easy to do a podcast weekly. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to Eric for coming on with Jeff and doing Showdown and just kind of, your amazing analysis. And I think that's a fun show for everyone to listen to if you just haven't listened to it, because it covers a lot of stuff that we don't get to cover on the Lookout. So shout out to you, Eric. Big shout out to Johnny Barnes, my elite.
Yes, sir.
Let's go, bro.
Yes, sir.
Just elite
Big
in general.
Barnes.
Just
good
incredible.
everywhere.
Yep.
Absolutely. I picked you. I knew I was going to
we
reach out
knew
to
it.
you from before. From 2019. I'll say that. From 2019, I knew. And
that was the one.
And I absolutely.
Hey man, I appreciate it so much. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
For everything.
And of course, last but not least, Flo, who I've worked with time, on and off for probably the last 5 years, 6 years maybe. All started from Ras Rap. Now we here. You have your own podcast, which is amazing. I'm grateful for being a guest on that. And just grateful for you guys, for you spending your time and dealing with me, because I know I'm tough in terms of just actually doing that social media shit. I'm very particular in things.
Mills is a sweetheart, bro. It should be just be capping that. Mills is so easy to work with. It's not even
bro.
Funny. You just put so much pressure on yourself, Mills. You're so easy to work with, bro.
Nah, I'll be giving
you pull the best out of
Flo hell. I know I'd be giving Flo hell, and it's like, no, it's got to be this font, and it's got to be this way, and it's
it's all good.
He's a perfectionist, but you get it.
Genius.
You understand.
Yeah.
Johnny knows too, because we spent 3 months damn near working on YouTube stuff for 3 months. And
we up, man. We up now. It's
absolutely
popping,
so subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to everywhere, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the socials, look out on everywhere. And we'll be back. Pretty much it's gonna keep going. Train not gonna stop. We'll be back.
Hey, only bigger and better. We out here.
Big Eyes will be back next year. Lookout will be back next year. Showdown wrapping up now. Hopefully we'll be back with more fight. There's too many anime fights for you guys to go away. So it just, it is what it is. Even everyone who doesn't win that poll, I expect them in season 2 nonetheless. And just kind of everything that we got moving forward. We hope to continue to expand and everything of the rather, but I'm going to leave you here. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Lookout Awards. We'll see you guys next time.